That's very nice. Thank you. That's very nice. Nobel.
You know, people have been saying they haven't seen the president smile or laugh. That's a big smile right there.
A little chuckle?
And a little chuckle when the crowd in Washington Township, Michigan was chanting Nobel, Nobel, suggesting the president should get the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts to bring peace to the Korean Peninsula right now, or at least struck some kind of deal. Catherine Rampell, listening to that, you know, clearly the president soaking it in and eating it up, but it's a hopeful moment.
Yes, yes. Look, I am very critical of President Trump on many issues. I do hope that he succeeds on many things, including this. I'm a little skeptical, though, given that North Korea has signed multiple denuclearization deals before and then didn't hold up their end of the bargain. So just because there's a meeting happening, just because there seems to be progress, doesn't mean that we should get overly optimistic here, especially when it comes to what happens on the peninsula, but also with President Trump himself.
We have, though, Phil Mudd, you know, we have Defense Secretary James Mattis saying this is the most optimistic he has been since, you know, in the last 50-plus years, that this could actually be something.
Well, you get a Nobel for what you did, not what you hope to do. As I learned when I was a CIA from the Pentagon, hope is not a plan. President Obama got the Nobel mistakenly for hope. That was a mistake. President Trump, people are chanting, get the Nobel. For what? For people showing up at a meeting?
Does he deserve it if indeed this comes to fruition?
Maybe, but my question is, who else is involved in putting on pressure on the North Koreans? What did the Chinese tell them? What did the South Koreans tell them? I'd also say that the people who have gotten this award who deserved it, people who opposed decades of racism in South Africa, and you want to give somebody the Nobel for hope? Obama didn't deserve it. Trump doesn't. I want to see action. I don't want to see hope. Hope is not a plan.
I heard, Joe, was this that you heard over here?
Well, I think we need to know what he's done to deserve the Nobel. So I think it's kind of a crazy thing to be proposing right now. We have no idea if this deal will come to fruition, but I'm going to be happy to go to bed tonight believing that we are farther away from nuclear war. And if Donald Trump really is responsible for that, I will give him credit.
He should get some credit for this. This is one I think it's fairly clear the president should get some credit for this. You know, the pressure was on, and all of a sudden we get this unbelievable peace deal. Nobel, we're not there yet, but certainly he should get some credit.
It is one of those issues where you say you could go to bed, you know, easier tonight, we're further away from nuclear. Who cares who gets the credit if ultimately
it's huge.
There is peace?
Right. Yeah.
Look, if North Korea denuclearizes and it doesn't come at the cost of us compromising our security arrangement with South Korea,
which is what the Trump administration even today said. It has to be irreversible denuclearization.
Right, and you know, that is something right now that is a very high hill to climb. And there's many a slip twixt the cup and the lip, as they say. And if this if this goes to the pattern of North Korea's previous behavior, and there's no reason to believe that Donald Trump has altered the fundamental character of Kim Jong-un in some way, if it goes to the previous pattern, they will exploit this. They will get their trade opened up a little bit. They'll get imports of coal and food from China and everything else, and then they'll start to cheat again. This is their pattern for 40 years on all fronts, and on nuclear for the last 25.
Under different leaders. Under different leadership. It is stunning to think of where we were, how many months ago, Fire and Fury, Little Rocket Man, to where we sit today.
No, it's a big difference. And again, you know, the president said in the speech that's going on in Washington Township, he hopes to meet with Kim in the next 3 to 4 weeks, you know, end of May, beginning of June. It looks like this is going to happen. You know, Paris, your thoughts on it?
I think all along this has been part of the president's strategy on engaging with North Korea. I think the reason why he was so tough, the maximum pressure and all those things, was because he knew that this could get him to this point. But one quick point that I want to make is, you see how everyone is discrediting the president? Well, we don't know how involved he was.
Did you just hear Lauren? She said he deserves a lot of credit for this.
And I'm saying, in general, the media, a lot of people, pundits and all alike, they won't give him the credit that he deserves now for what's happening as the catalyst for change. And
but nothing has actually changed at this point, right? There's a meeting which North Korea has been requesting for a bajillion years. So,
something did just happen that hasn't happened before in 65 years. It is a big deal. I think we are giving him credit. I mean, he should get credit for this. And quite frankly, I mean, This is a good moment, Paris. Enjoy it. Come on, man.
Let's
do
Be
this.
clear. There's a lot of good moments that nobody gives him credit for. I go to bed every
Give
night.
us some examples.
Very happy. Well, HBCU funding. Let's not go there, Lord. There's a lot of good things that this president is doing. But when it comes to this, you wonder why people outside of Washington, D.C. say, you see, that's what they do. They don't give him the credit. Because we sit here and we nitpick. We nitpick, and we say he doesn't do.
Our credit. You're nitpicking. No, I'm not. I'm sitting next to you saying,
Take the win, Paris. Take the win.
Take the win.
You know,
You missed it.
for the America,
You're
for the,
totally dismissive of the president's actions and everything that
for
he
the
does.
America First president, there was something that stood out to me this week that he said at the end of this week in the press conference with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. That was not just about America First, Kevin Madden. He said, talking about the Korean Peninsula and hoping for peace. This is certainly something that I hope I can do for the world. This is beyond the United States. And that was sort of the opposite of the Trumpism we often see.
Yeah, and I think he's, and I think, Paris, I think everybody is being intellectually honest and giving him the credit. I think where they're skeptical is not of the president, it's of the historical trends that we've seen with North Korea. But you're right. I think the president is, sort of reaping the fruits of his labor when it comes to, pursuing this policy against a lot of criticism, and is, very confident in some of the working relationships that he's had. We saw him talk very effusively and praise President Moon. He obviously has a very good relationship there. He's built a stronger relationship with President Merkel, our Chancellor Merkel, even though that has started off.
There was nowhere to go but up.
Right, exactly. and I think he's seen that with that comes some progress, and even folks like, Joan Walsh, who are critics, offering some level of credit,
Even
so
Joan Walsh, the new standard.
I'm sure the president is very aware of Joan's comments.
Yes.
We got a lot. We got a lot more to talk about. I will also say the fact that Kim Jong-un now seems to have a lot of missiles that can shoot very far and now has many new nuclear weapons, also factoring into the progress in this negotiation. But again,
Progress is progress.
Progress is progress. Stand by, everyone. The president is making more news. He just made a big promise about the midterm elections and talking about what would happen if he is impeached.
Roundup for Lawns says